Visioneers, and welcome to Small Business Celebration. We're continuing our series on small business owners who not only survived the last recession, but thrived from it. And our guest this week, well, we're here at Russos to learn how we can book it into a brighter and more successful financial future. This is Small Business Celebration. Join us as we learn from successful business owners and successful business leaders about who they are, from where their business has grown, what they have learned, and where their successful business is going. I'm your host, Michael I. Roberts, and we're going to learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. Hello Visioneers, and welcome to Small Business Celebration. And our guest this week is Mike Russo with Russo's Books. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you are you and what is it that you do?
I am Mike Russo. My father and I own Russo's Books here in Bakersfield, California, now celebrating 31 years. 31 years. Yeah. So you're definitely not a fly-by-night operation. You know, there's a lot of bookstores that have come and gone in that time, as you can well imagine. But nope, we're still here.
For those of you who may have recalled, about a year ago, or a little more than a year ago, I interviewed Mike Russo on the audio podcast version of this. And when we had the opportunity to come into his bookstore, we could actually see his books and you could see his store. I couldn't pass it up. And one of the great things in those 31 years of experience that you've had is you have seen a lot of recessions come and go.
Very much.
You survived the last recession, and you were climbing your way out of the last recession when COVID hit.
Sure.
And how did this current recession, well, first of all, what did you learn from the last recession that you're applying to this one?
Persistence and not giving up. So the last recession really was the perfect storm for us. Not only did we have the entire housing market crash and the financial meltdown to the general economy, but Amazon was really starting to finally, people were comfortable buying online, and then ebooks hit at the same time where people were doing the little e-readers and the downloads, and everything just kind of hit all at once. Complicating the entire matter was our landlord at the time at our big store had just purchased the building from the previous landlord. Property rates were at all-time highs, and we were the very first people to renew our lease. So we renewed at a very high price for a 5-year term, and about 6 months after that, property values and sales declined precipitously, but we were stuck with another 4.5 years on that lease.
And that forced you to make a serious, significant change.
Yes.
What happened?
So eventually we closed down. We had 4 stores in town at one point, and it just wasn't sustainable anymore. So we weren't able to keep that business model going. The book industry had changed, so we had to change with it. And that's precisely what we did. So we moved to this little office, and instead of stocking 30,000 books as I previously did, perhaps I have 500, 1,000 books, mostly bestsellers and classics, but I can order 2 million books. So rather than carrying my inventory, I'm able to order anything you need, get it in a day or two's time, and now with smaller staff, smaller lease, smaller everything, I'm actually able to give a discount on every book that we sell.
And for the eagle-eye Visioneer who's watched a few of our episodes, you will also notice that Mike Russo and Russo's Books are proud sponsors of the Small Business Celebration podcast and YouTube program. And you will also see some recommendations from this guest later on in this program. But COVID has presented a whole new set of opportunities as well as challenges. And what is something that you and your father have noticed that has really impacted the business community and more specifically the workplace?
Yeah, and it's impacted everybody to a great extent, obviously, so that's stating the obvious. So for us, it was just a matter of trying to be responsive to our customer and understanding what their needs were and as you say, where it was a threat, COVID was to a lot of businesses, we turned it into an opportunity. So as people were sheltering at home, and then our competitors were either closing down or had limited hours, we were able to offer delivery for the first time, where we would do free delivery throughout Bakersfield and really be responsive to our customers. And that was enlightening. A lot of people who didn't know that we were still in business after we closed our 4 stores rediscovered us. And even though we've stopped deliveries now, we are still in business. We're still doing curbside. We're still doing mailing. People are still coming in and picking up their books. But a lot of those people that found us throughout the pandemic are remaining with us, and they're continuing to order.
The key to all this is that your online sales here at Russo's Books has just gone through the roof.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah.
And this has been a real boon to you, because for a while, institutional books were what was keeping your business afloat. And with schools not being able to be open and those institutional orders going down, your online sales has really been what has floated the business.
And that is so true. And institutional sales, schools and businesses and governments buying from us is still our bread and butter. And, sales are down overall because those have dried up a little bit, but they are trickling back in and they're coming. But you're right, because the online sales from the rank and file customers, if you will, has just really 12, 15, 18 times what it was just prior to the pandemic. It's kept my staff busy. It's kept them employed. For a while, some of my staff was working from home, so we did that as well. But in addition to being able to keep my staff employed, it's really helped establish us as, again, Bakersfield's bookstore. Customer service, providing a need, helping customers any way we possibly can.
We had an example of that happen just before we started recording. What happened?
Yeah, so right before we turned the cameras on, a customer called, and he, just like I say, had thought we had gone away. We had gone out of business. But he heard through the grapevine that we were still in business and found our website, ordered a series of books, really liked them. About 6 weeks later, called back, I finished the first batch, can I get another batch? Sure, no problem. Delivered those to him as well. And then he just called a few minutes ago and said, hey, I know you're not delivering anymore. I'll come pick them up, but I have this new author I want, and can you get this series? And, again, we've reclaimed a customer for life, if you will, just from this whole experience.
If Visioneers want to find out about Russo's Books, if they haven't already, how do they get in touch with you?
Russo's Books here in Bakersfield, California. Our website is www.russosbooks.com. A lot of O's and S's there. RUSSOSBOOKS, russosbooks.com. And our phone number is 661-665-4686, 661-665-4686. 4686. And of course, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the sort.
And in addition to that, if you have ever wanted to find out a location for all the past guests of the Small Business Celebration Program and the books that those guests have recommended for you and your business, you can also find them here at Russo's Books. Just simply tag on the Small Business Celebration Podcast Program link, and you'll be able to find all those listings there. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of those books and some new books that have come out that can directly affect your business. So remember to like, subscribe, and notify the Small Business Celebration Program, and tell a friend, and we'll be right back. In times like these, the sharp business owner knows that now is the time to invest in undervalued businesses to move their financial future forward. But how do you find the right business? How do you arrange financing? How do you analyze the prospective business financials and industry information to make the right decision? Do what the proud owners of the Tire Man have done. Turn to Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA and buy the undervalued business to move your financial future forward. Call Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 858 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA today. We're here with Mike Russo, the co-owner of Russo's Books, and we're going to start off this segment with Visioneer Carrie's question, and she asks, I am a super busy person with my family and my business. How do I find the time to read a business book to improve my business?
Well, first of all, I would say that super busy defines entrepreneurs and business owners, so I certainly understand that and I commiserate with that. But ask a busy person if you want something done, right?
Right.
So here we are, and there are so many really good books, and that's one of the reasons I love your program, and I love co-sponsoring and featuring some of the books that people bring to light. There's so much of a wealth of information out there, and you really can learn from other people and their stories, find inspiration and nuggets of truth in them. So first of all, it's just that awareness that this is time well spent, I think is important.
Right.
For me personally, also very busy, I understand. I do audiobooks. I really enjoy that. So I do your podcast while I'm in the car. I do audiobooks in the car, back and forth, making book deliveries wherever I may be. I also try to get a few pages done each night right before bed. You mentioned, maybe just carving out some time at the beginning of your day. That's a great suggestion where you say, I'm going to do my meditations and my prayers and 15 minutes of reading, whether it's the business news or it's a book. So those little pieces of time, have to carve them out, I agree, but I think it is time well spent.
It comes under the heading of the old African proverb of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yep.
What books are successful business owners coming into your store and asking for now?
Glad you asked. So actually, this is probably the #1 business book going right now, Atomic Habits. This is selling very, very well. And again, back to want something done, establish good habits. And this is research-based, and it's getting very good reviews. I've had a lot of customers who've said good things about it. I'm seeing a lot of good things in the national press. So James Clear, Atomic Habits, tiny changes, remarkable results.
And that's, I think, something that all of us can use, all the tiny changes to get the results we want.
Yeah, by all means.
What is another book that you recommend that a lot of business owners have been coming into your store to read and learn from?
I also teach small business entrepreneurship for the high school district. And even though this book came out a while ago, it wasn't on my radar at all. And in one day, I had 2 different speakers to 2 different classes, and it was just coincidence. Both of them recommended Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And oh my goodness, this is a fabulous book. And since that time, I've not only seen how much wonderful it is for myself, but I've had other business people who have sworn by it. And I think one of our visionaries in the past has recommended this.
Right.
Yeah. You'll figure out your what and your when and your how, but you need to start with why. Why are you doing the things that you're doing it? And what is propelling you? And if you have that solid core, then you can expand out from there, and the other things will fall into place. But you need to start with why.
Now, this all sounds like that all the business books that you carry have only been in print for the last 3 or 4 years, correct?
Well, no, actually, we have books that have spanned the ages.
Okay. And give us an example of a tried and true business book that hasn't gone out of fashion.
So when did this come out? It's about 80 years ago. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Still in print and still a classic. Speaking of my class, another one that I recommend to my students, another one that I recommend to my customers, and yet another one that I continually have business people reference. And for many of them, it's a book that they read a long time ago, and it kind of just laid the bedrock or the foundation of their business career.
Right.
But even if you haven't read it yet, it's probably one that you need, or if you have, maybe you need to revisit it. And I'm kind of the opinion that with this whole COVID thing, customer service is kind of waning as people are working from home or not working from home. We've had a number of issues trying to order books, and things just get lost or fall through the cracks. Not on our end, but from the people that we're doing business with. And how to win friends and influence people, how to service your customer, how to be attentive to their needs, and the list goes on. So highly recommend that. I think a lot of business people will swear by it.
It's a book that also, from my own personal experience, that the more things change, the more they remain the same. And even though we may be in a great social upheaval going on right now, a lot of the skills that are taught in that book 80, 100 years ago are still true today.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I agree with you that good advice is good advice.
Right.
And human beings are living the human experience, whatever age you're in. And that's just one of those books that sticks with you.
One of the other things that you're also doing, and this is primarily for fiction books, but you're also having authors do online interviews and talking about their books here at Russo's. First of all, why?
Again, trying to be responsive to the market and our customers. And then also a big part of Russo's books has always been community and serving our community. So for example, the One Book, One Bakersfield program right now is in full swing. And they have...
First of all, what is One Book, One Bakersfield?
One Book, One Bakersfield is a community read every year for the last probably, we're about 18 years. A book has been chosen. And the idea is it will start a community dialogue, and there'll be events and activities throughout town celebrating the themes of that book.
Right.
And then it concludes with an author visit at the end of October where the author comes in and talks about the prime book. And then they've also have other books that talk about the themes, specifically books for teens and children. And that's where we came in, because this year we're like, okay, obviously having events is going to look much different with the pandemic,
right,
but it's not going away. What could we do? So with a lot of the books that are for the younger generation, we brought in on Zoom 4 different authors, 4 different days, and did 4 live Zoom interviews.
Wow.
And then we recorded them as well. But again, it's our way to give back to Bakersfield. It's our way to be part of the talk and part of the conversation and to support One Book, One Bakersfield. The One Book Project, the library does great with that. Cal State, BC, lots of partners throughout. And we're pleased and proud to be a partner since its inception.
When we come back, if you think that all this advancement in technology is a little bit unnerving, well, we've got some thoughts and advice for you when we come right back. Can you believe our 100th episode is right around the corner? Neither can I. But who would you like to see as our guest here on Small Business Celebration's 100th episode? Well, if you've got a thought, leave their name in the comment section below, and your guest of your choice could be here on Small Business Celebration for our 100th episode. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and who knows? Your guest could be our guest here on Small Business Celebration's 100th episode. We're here with Mike Russo, the co-owner of Russo's Books, and there is a great Samuel Beckett quote that I wanted to read. It said, "Ever tried? Ever failed? No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better." Why is this such an important quote to you?
Again, going back to my teaching entrepreneurship for the high school district, it's something that I want to infuse with my students as they start on their young business careers. And for years they've been told, you failed that test, that's bad, and you can't do that, and don't try that, you might fail, and your friends calling them out because they tried something and they failed. And I want to reverse all of that. I want to tell them that it's okay to fail. And that quote just speaks to me. I have it in my class, and I would love to get students back in my class so they could see it.
Right.
So the whole precept there is, ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again. Fail better. Just learn from your mistakes. Just push forward, and don't be afraid to have that, the old college try, as they say. And that is certainly true in small business.
Give us an example of how this quote has meant that for you.
Well, here we are in a scaled down, smaller version of what we once had.
Right.
So at one point, again, we had 4 stores in town, and we were over probably about 15,000 square feet in all of our stores combined, and now we're at about 1,000 square feet. But hey, we fought the good fight. We opened up those stores. We learned our lessons. We put it out there. And when it came time to change, we were able to fail better. We were going to say, okay, we're not going to pack this in. We're going to find, a door closes, a window opens, and that's what we did. So actually, this is crazy, but last year, from this small little location, we actually had sales, the best sales in 9 years.
Wow.
You have to go back to 2010 at the marketplace when we had sales that were better than we had in 2019 from the small little location.
But this advent in online sales, and where we're sitting in here with COVID, has also brought forth a variety of opportunities. You've had the ability to have authors come on and speak and be able to engage in the community that way. But, and I've mentioned this on more than one occasion on the program, that if it were up to me, I would live in a windowless room, in a windowless office, and get Domino's pizza delivered to me 3 times a day, and my only human companionship would be my cat. But after 98 episodes, nobody seems to believe me anymore. You, on the other hand, you are one of those people. And I've run into so many entrepreneurs, business owners, that find that being on YouTube, getting in front of the camera, being in front of a class, being in front of people, is way outside your comfort zone.
Sure.
Why on earth are you doing this?
And why am I in front of the camera right now? Why am I speaking to you when it's definitely uncomfortable for me? Nobody loves your baby as much as you do. Nobody can represent your business the way that you can. So during the pandemic, we had the news cameras in here at least 2 different times. We had the newspaper calling for quotes and for an interview. And I need to represent. I need to be there. I need to say, this is my business. This is what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm doing. And I can't just tell them, no, go talk to my competitors.
Right.
I need to have that exposure, and people need to know that I'm still part of this community. And I can't have my employees doing it. They don't represent my business the way I do. I love my employees. They do a marvelous job, but that's not their job. It's my job. So as I tell my young students, because they too many times are very shy about giving presentations, you just have to represent. You just have to get out there in front of it, break out of your comfort zone, and realize that it's you and it's your customer, and you're speaking to your customers.
What is it that you do when you're done with an interview like this and the cameras are turned off? Okay, all right.
So my whole thing with introvert and extrovert is that extroverts are charged by groups and by social situations, where introverts are drained from it. So yeah, very much I'm drained from the experience, and that's okay. So I have a big smile right now, and I'm ready to go, and I'm feeling it. So I appreciate your being here and for the opportunity, and I need to be grateful for that opportunity, and I need to embrace it.
What is one thing that you could tell Vision Your Nation today to grow a strong and profitable business?
Again, going back to the whole pandemic and people not necessarily being responsive to their customers in these troubled times, I'm going to just say, listen to your customers, know what their needs are, understand what problems that you're there to solve for them, and be responsive. Follow up. And I get that it's hard. I have a small staff, and our sales have just kind of gone through the roof, and sometimes keeping up every day is difficult. But you have to understand that there's so many other options for your customer, and if you can't service them, they'll find someone who can.
What do you do on those days when it's tough? You don't have the customers coming in. You don't have the online orders coming in. You've got the odd employee that needs to take a sick day, not because they have COVID, but because they have something else going on. How do you get yourself up out of bed every day and keep that persistence going, that motivation to keep going after 31 years?
Well, the easy answer there is I love what I'm doing. this is fabulous. I mean, so many people, their whole thing is, I'm going to retire and start a little bookstore.
Right.
Well, I've lived that life, right? So I can't complain. Even on the tough days, I can't complain. I just love Bakersfield. I love books. I love reading and education, and everything just comes together here. But kind of like eating that elephant, it's just one day at a time. So yeah, there's hard times and there's difficulties, but that perseverance of, all right, let's just make the most of today and let's see it through. And tomorrow's another day. Let's live to fight it, and maybe good things will happen.
And if Visioneers wanted to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They need only go to our website, russosbooks.com, but they can certainly call us at 661-665-4686.
What was that number again?
661-665-4686. And of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, as I mentioned. And people call us all the time. They email us their orders. So although the online sales have really taken off, traditionally people just like seeing a live bookseller, and they like coming in and getting a recommendation. And we're still here for you. After 31 years, we're happy to serve you.
Here's an insider sales tip for you too. If you have a book that you enjoyed reading and you know that you've got a friend, a prospect, or a business interest that you think would like that book, give Mike a call, order the book, sign the book, and give it to that person, and that person will probably remember you for thinking of them. Thank you for being on the Small Business Celebration program, Mike. This has been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
In times like these, the sharp business owner knows that now is the time to invest in undervalued businesses to move their financial future forward. But how do you find the right business? How do you arrange financing? How do you analyze the prospective business financials and industry information to make the right decision? Do what the proud owners of the Tire Man have done. Turn to Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA and buy the undervalued business to move your financial future forward. Call Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA today. Who is a visioneer? A visioneer is a business leader who is a pioneer that has vision. A visioneer is someone willing to see the world not as it is, but as it could be, and is willing to do something about it. A visioneer is ethical, smarter, faster, and leaner than the mainstream competition. A visioneer gives value first because visioneers are in the business for the long haul. Visioneers understand the difference between saving money and earning a profit. Visioneers define their destiny. Visioneers create their own luck. Visioneers surround themselves with successful, like-minded people. Visioneers are renegades who defy the mainstream competition and are ready to change the world. Are you a visioneer? Join the Visioneer Tribe with Small Business Celebration on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram today.